Somebody asked me, are there any usable parts on the boards out of Ellen's lightning damaged IM3003? And the answer is yes, kind of. So these are the parts that are worth saving for today. So we've got some miscellaneous interconnect cables. And while these may not seem valuable, if you have a set that's sent in and mice get in it and they chew on the wires, if you're the guy that's got the cables, it makes your life way easier. I saved the LED display panel from the display board. I think it's still good. I can always hook it up and test it, but I don't have a lot of spares of these, so having one of those, if it's bad, I can always throw it away. It's not a big deal. I got the button to change the tune on the chime module. I've got a power wire off the switchboard assembly. The intercom audio transformer, I can test it to see if it's any good or not. Another interconnect cable, switches for the input selector and the time and radio frequency readout, the LEDs off the switch panel with their standoffs. These never go bad, but if you're taking stuff off, you might as well keep them. Ground wire, the intercom switch assembly. This is actually a fairly valuable part because sometimes the switches go bad, and if you have one of these lying around, it's good that you can swap it out. The connector for the chime module, some button caps for the buttons that set the time, master speaker connection cable, power cable, the on-off switch with the LED, again a good thing to have. Some miscellaneous other push-button switches. There's a couple inductors, little things like that. Because if you're taking them off the board, you might as well take them off the board. And then these two parts definitely worth keeping. This is the program volume for the system, and these sliding volume pots, these do have a tendency to wear out, so having some spares of those is good. This is the bigger one, is for the master speaker volume, and again these wear out, so having those are good to have. So these are the parts that are most usable, and what will happen with these, in fact we'll do it right now, is we will take these and we will put them in a plastic bag, because one of the things I've learned is if you put things in a plastic bag and then you label it, and the way it will be labeled will be Ellen's IM3003 parts, because I will always remember Ellen's IM3003. I've been doing this for a long time, and I always remember all of my customers and all of their sets. So this will go in the bag. It'll get labeled. It'll go in a bin with it's labeled as miscellaneous IM3003 parts, and that's where it will stay. And someday something will come along and I'll need something out of this bag, and then I can just walk back to the parts room, open up the bags, take out what I need, fix the other fellow's intercom, and we're all good to go. So waste not, want not. So we did that. Put that over there and move this stuff out of the way. So now what we have left is we have all of these beyond repairable circuit boards that we have to do something with. And of course, being responsible and all, these will end up going to the electronic recyclers, because that's what needs to happen to them. But before we actually do that, we need to make sure that they don't fall into the wrong hands, because that would be bad. So what we're going to do is, that's a heatsink assembly for the amplifier for the system. It has no value because it's a big heavy metal bracket. It doesn't ever wear out. But the rest of this, useless. Blown up ICs, blown up transistors. You might be tempted to think, well, you know, these capacitors that are on here, they're only like a year old and they're probably still good. But really, why take the chance? You're talking about parts that cost pennies. So who really cares? But we have to be responsible and make sure these don't fall into the into enemy hands. You never know where they might end up. They will go to the recyclers. But even so, being responsible and all, we have to make sure that that doesn't really happen. So we have to make sure that the parts are not usable. Unfortunately, this is the AM/FM tuner board, and I have zero confidence of any parts on here at all. There are these little IF coils, there's the decoder IF IC, there's some other little inductors, there's a variable condenser here. It's probably good, but and changing out, if you have to change out a variable condenser on a tuner board, you might as well just sell a new tuner board, a replacement tuner board. It's just not really worth it. So again, we have to make sure that these end up in the right spot, but also that they don't end up on eBay or something like that. Who knows what can happen. Chime module. Chime module, obviously, it's the one with the blown up op amp. Obviously, the microprocessor. I could save it and test it, but all the traces on this side of the microprocessor under here are totally fried. And actually, off of here, I robbed, there's a little adjustable pot for the chime volume. I robbed that off of it because it's unlikely that would have gone bad. And when I desoldered the connection cable from here, when I did that, the traces just all fell off the board because it's severely damaged. So the odds that the microprocessor are any good, or even if it was any good, it's going to last for 25 years, not very likely. So again, got to make sure it doesn't end up on eBay. So that's an update. Well, one more thing. Hold on. Be right back. Here's Ellen's rebuilt IM3003. It's a nice set. It's all cleaned up because it was cleaned up a year ago. I just sort of cleaned it up again a little bit, and now it actually plays. Success in the end. She has a working system again. We salvaged some parts off of it so things don't go to waste, and this will go in the tub and go to the recyclers. That's it. Hope you found it interesting. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See ya.